All right. Welcome, everyone, to Engineering Out Loud. This is the first episode of our series
Oh, wow.
from MECHESOL's MESP Engineering Development Program, and we are calling this series Engineering Competence. Okay,
Oh,
so are you ready to kind of dive deep into engineering ethics?
yeah, let's do it.
I hope so,
Like,
because today we are going to be tackling codes of conduct.
Mhm.
And believe me, it's a lot more interesting than it sounds.
Okay. Yeah.
If you are super stoked to level up your engineering skills,
Yeah.
you can head to mechesolco.com/CPD
Uh-huh.
and apply for the MESP program. You won't regret it.
Awesome.
All right, so let's get into it. We're going deep today with two really cool sources.
Okay.
The Codes of Conduct from the Engineering Council UK, we'll just call them EngC UK, and from the Institution of Mechanical Engineers, we'll call them IMechE.
Right.
But before we get into all the nitty-gritty details of these codes, let's set the stage.
Okay.
Why do you think organizations like these even bother with these codes?
That's a great question.
What's the big deal about M?
Well, I think it boils down to responsibility. I mean, engineers are the ones that, hold the blueprints to, our entire world. We're
Yeah.
talking bridges and buildings and medical devices,
Yeah.
even algorithms that are shaping our digital lives. So our decisions can have a huge impact on people's safety, the environment, even the economy.
It's a big deal.
Yeah, it's a really big deal. So these codes of conduct are kind of like a compass to guide us towards responsible choices,
Yeah.
especially in those situations where the right answer isn't always super clear.
Yeah, that's a great point. It's kind of like, say you're designing a new type of wind turbine,
Right.
and you have to choose between a more efficient but slightly risky design
Yeah.
and a safer but less efficient one. It's not always so black and white.
Exactly. It's not. And the codes help engineers navigate those gray areas.
Hmm.
For instance, the EngC UK's code lays out some core principles like honesty, fairness, accuracy, and integrity. These values kind of underpin almost every single clause in the code.
Okay, I like it. I like it. So let's unpack this a little bit. What does it actually mean for an engineer to be competent, according to the EngC UK code?
So competence in this context, it goes beyond just knowing the technical stuff. It's about committing to lifelong learning, staying up to date with the latest advancements, and acknowledging the limits of your own expertise.
So an engineer shouldn't just rest on their laurels
Yeah.
after graduation.
Yeah, no.
They need to keep learning throughout their whole career.
Absolutely, yeah. Technology is always evolving, and engineers need to keep pace with that. The code actually states that engineers should undertake the professional development that's necessary to maintain and enhance their competence in their areas of practice.
Makes total sense. It's a continuous journey.
It is.
So what about sustainability?
Mm-hmm.
That's another word we hear everywhere these days.
Yeah, for sure.
What's the EngC UK's take on that?
Well, sustainability is a huge deal in engineering these days. And the code emphasizes minimizing the environmental impact of engineering activities. I mean, think about it. Every decision an engineer makes, from the materials they choose to how they dispose of waste, it all has environmental consequences.
All right, and they need to consider those consequences, both short-term and long-term.
Exactly. The code actually encourages engineers to seek to minimize, and where possible, eliminate the adverse environmental, health, and safety impacts of engineering activities.
Okay, so that leads us to another concept that I think is really interesting. Engineering leadership. What does that actually mean in the context of this code?
So engineering leadership, it's more than just managing projects. The EngC UK views it as a responsibility to communicate complex technical issues to the public and to policymakers in a way that is clear and understandable. It's about advocating for the profession and promoting ethical practices.
So engineers need to be great communicators, not just technical whizzes.
Absolutely. We need to be able to bridge the gap between technical jargon and everyday language. Think about explaining the risks and benefits of a new energy technology to a community. That requires really clear, honest, and persuasive communication.
For sure. That's really important.
Yeah.
Now, before we move on to the IMechE code, I just want to remind everybody about our MESP Engineering Development Program.
Yes.
If you're ready to take your engineering career to the next level, be sure to visit mechesolco.com/CPD for more information.
Awesome.
All right, so let's get into the IMechE code. What are some of the similarities or differences that jump out at you between these two codes?
Well, the IMechE code shares a lot of its core values with the EngC UK code, like
Yeah.
honesty, integrity, and competence. But because it's tailored
Mm.
to mechanical engineers, it goes a little deeper into some specific aspects of the field.
Okay, so what kind of specifics are we talking about? Give me an example.
So one key area where the IMechE code goes into more detail is its emphasis on innovation. So it encourages mechanical engineers to actively seek out and develop new technologies and solutions that can benefit society.
So it's not just about following the rules, it's about pushing the boundaries of what's possible.
Exactly. It's about constantly pushing the envelope and challenging the status quo.
I like it. Anything else unique to the IMechE code?
Yeah. It also places a strong emphasis on engaging with the public. And this goes beyond just communicating technical information clearly. It's about actively looking for opportunities to educate the public about the role of mechanical engineering in society and to address any concerns they might have.
So basically, mechanical engineers need to be ambassadors for their field.
Yes, exactly. Think about all the debates that we have these days about automation, artificial intelligence, climate change. Mechanical engineers are at the forefront of all these issues, and the IMechE code really recognizes the importance of our role in shaping public understanding and policy.
That's awesome. This has been a really awesome deep dive. And speaking of deep dives, be sure to register for our upcoming webinar on engineering ethics. You can head to mechesolco.com/CPD for all the details. Before we wrap up, can we just give our listeners a quick recap?
Of course.
What are the key takeaways that they should remember about these codes of conduct?
Okay, so codes of conduct, they're more than just a set of rules. They're really a roadmap for ethical and responsible engineering. They guide us in navigating complex situations and ensuring that we're prioritizing safety, sustainability, and the well-being of society.
I couldn't have said it better myself. So next time you're faced with a tough engineering decision, remember the principles. Enshrined in these codes, they will help you stay on the right track and make a positive impact on the world. Thanks for joining us today for this deep dive into engineering competence.